Welcome to the GT350 Garage. My name's Walter, and this is my 66 Shelby GT350. A few weeks ago, I did a little bit of cleaning on the car, and I've been doing some prep, getting ready for paint. I wanted to show you guys some things I found underneath the car. This is kind of typical stuff that you're going to see on cars of this age, and for this car, it was kind of disappointing to find it. No, there's no rust. It's worse than that in a sense because it's floor pan damage that was completely avoidable and caused by people who didn't know how to jack a car up. So rather than drag this introduction out, let's get started. But before we do that, really quick, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, now's a great time. If you like these videos, give a thumbs up. And if you want to reach me any way other than through the comments, you can find the links to reach me on Instagram, Facebook, and by email in the video description. So with that, now let's inspect the floor pans together. Okay, so first things first, let's show you the extent of the undercoating on this car, and it's pretty heavily undercoated. They went to town on it. There's quite a lot of undercoating on here, and it goes all the way up to the top of the shock towers. You know, we can even look and you can see the tops of the fenders have undercoating on them. So let's get to the damage. Okay, it's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see there's a concave area here, if I rub my hand this way, where the floor jack has been used right here. This particular frame rail is still flat and straight. And then as we move back, you can see that there's a dent here and a dent here, and that's where it was picked up improperly. And the plug is missing, and there's just undercoating on the carpet underlayment. So I've got a plug kit for the car. The passenger side is not as bad as the driver's side, but it's pretty bad. Let's see. This area right here, someone tried to pick the whole half of the car up by this side of the floor pan. So directly under the seat pan, the car has been jacked up by a floor jack, and it's caved that area in. So this whole section of the floor pan, to properly repair this, I'd have to take the seat platform out, and I could probably straighten this side out and get it pretty solid. I think that's something I'll probably do. Again, you can see just how much undercoating is underneath here. Let's see if I can move the light, and you can see that it actually ghosts where they sprayed it with the lines in place. The floor's been damaged right here where this seat plug goes. And so I have my work cut out for me down here. Okay, I'm over on the driver's side now, and you can see there's a notch here. There's pretty good compression here. You can actually see where the damage is in the frame rail here. Here's the actual impressions from the floor jack in the undercoating. So this was done after the car was undercoated. The back of the frame rail is pretty substantially caved in. Try and get a good picture of that. There's you can see the two marks that collapsed that frame rail in. Um, moving further back on the car, it's not as bad on the back portion of this floor pan as it is up here on the front. But then if we move the light, if we look right in here, you can see where it's actually pulled the floor pan away from the rocker at the bottom. And this area right in here. So the car was jacked up right here, and the compression, the weight of the car on the floor pan has done this damage here. Also, I noticed that the fender is welded to the rocker panel. I do know the car was in a minor front end collision. I find this to be a very unusual little attempt at holding things in place. So there's that. But again, we've got tons of undercoating on this side of the car. It's a mess. And I've got a lot of cleanup to do, so I'm gonna be under here scraping for quite a bit of time. And I'll get it, and it'll look good when it's done. That's all I care about. Okay, so there you have it. The floor pan on this car is jacked up, quite literally. Because people got to this floor pan with jacks in places they shouldn't have, I've got my work cut out for me. I'm gonna have to do some reshaping of the sheet metal and kind of try and get things squared away and pulled together in a way that the floor pan in front of the seats is flat and just kind of more representative of a stock floor pan. I mean, let's face it, we can go in there and remove the seat platform and try and straighten things out and all of that, but it's never going to be 100% perfect like the way it was from the factory. And that's kind of the situation with a lot of these cars. It's 56 years old this year, and at that age you have to take into consideration what is reasonable when restoring the car. Now that leads me to a rather controversial decision, and when I say it's controversial, I was recently on the Shelby American Club forums, and several members on there decided to air their grievances and belittle and berate my choices with my car. They can put their opinions away. It's my car, and I'm going to do what I want to do with it. And nothing I'm doing to this car is going to destroy the integrity of the car or make it any less a real 66 Shelby GT350. So the decision has been made. This car will get subframe connectors to tie the front frame rail to the rear frame rail, and torque boxes. Torque boxes were only on convertibles initially, and then in '68 they put them on all the cars, coupes, fastbacks, and convertibles. So I'm going to add torque boxes to this car. It ties the inner frame rail to the rocker panel just behind the tire, and this gives the car more structural rigidity. It takes the flex and twist out of the car, which makes the suspension work better and the car handle better. And with everything else I'm doing in the suspension mods and the brake upgrades and the steering upgrades, that makes sense. This is not a modification that ultimately will destroy anything. It's going to be welded in, it can be cut out, and the floor pan can be returned to stock. But for the purposes that I intend to use the car for, which will be track days, autocrosses, winding mountain roads, pleasure cruises, and the occasional cars and coffee. I want this thing to drive exceptionally well. I want it to handle exceptionally well. I want this car to do everything it can to the best of its ability. So that's the reason I've made the decision to do that, and I will share with you guys the source of the subframe connectors that I'm going to be using. They're really super trick. They don't hang down under the car. And I will also share the process of installing them along with the torque boxes as soon as I get to that. But for the meanwhile, this is just kind of an update for 2022 on the condition of the car, things I've found, and things that have led to additional decisions that I feel like are in the best interest of achieving the outcome I want from this. So with that, again, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the like button, comment, reach out to me if you have any questions. All the links are below. I thank you. Be safe out there, and I'll see you soon.